It's Jonah Halpern here, back with another episode of the Valley Torah Howl. And today we got a real legend on the pod, Eli Lebowitz. He's the king of Jewish comedy and the guy who can make your entire Shabbos table crack up. Eli, can you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name is Eli Leibowitz, and I'm the king of Jewish comedy. Nice to be here. Always good to schmooze. I mean, the truth is, I feel like half the time I'm like opening for a dairy buffet and stuff like that. No, I don't know. Food is a big part of the show. I'll be honest. Like when you perform at a shul, people are like, "We're mostly here for the food," and the entertainment's a nice side thing. Well, I try to make sure that if you're doing a comedy night, that the food is first, so that they're not distracted because Jews get very distracted by food. Otherwise, they're kind of just sitting there like a kid like you told like he get to has iPad time, but like they're just like waiting. So, um, yeah, they're usually just like if they let them eat first so that they're like relaxed and able to not be like when's the food coming type of thing.
Yeah, I really don't know anything about comedy. The only comedy video I've ever seen was it was like a prank. They brought 100 silent mimes to a comedy show just to prank the guy doing the set. Funny actually.
That's the only comedy video you've seen.
I've seen some of the comedy that you've done just because I want to do some research before the podcast. Like that one video, the Hanukkah video. I think that's your best one.
Which one? The
Yeah, the one where you have the non-Jewish coworker and then you try to explain to him what Hanukkah is. With you
oh
and
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of fun and a lot of comedy in Judaism and explaining Judaism to people. And I did like shows in Israel in end of December, and it was like I realized half the jokes. I was like, "Oh wait, this isn't weird for you because you're like in Israel." So like half of like my experience is like trying to explain Judaism to the outside world. Um And I think like in Israel, you don't have that. Everyone's like, yeah, what do you mean? There's like a shul in every block. What's the big deal? It's just a different angle of what you're coming from. Like if you're coming from, the shows went very well, but there's just certain things, excuse me, where certain things that I having to explain Yom Tov and taking it off is not something that like Israelis have to deal with. I would say everybody's got their own sensitivities because I think even like a very left-leaning crowd these days, like certain things you can't say, it's like, oh, that's offensive. You know, and I think a moderate Orthodox crowd is probably one of the best ones because they're pretty laid back about it. Um, a Hasidic crowd is tough because I don't really speak Yiddish, so that's that. Though, there are challenges with that too because often it's like separate seating, and it's like I remember doing like a Chabad show, and it was like literally there was like a mechitza down the middle, and I couldn't see the women's side, and I'm like I don't know if they're enjoying this. I think yeshivish crowd it depends. I think there's some crowds that I don't want to like stereotype, but like sometimes it is like there is a seriousness to it. Anybody with a black hat, you can't make laugh. Like I think it's just finding the right parts of what people will laugh about and finding the way to relate to them. Okay, can you get past the fear of getting on stage, getting up there? If you can get past that, sorry for yawning. Getting if you can get past that, then it's a lot easier. But my friends of mine when I was in YU for college, and like friends of mine were doing like a talent show thing, and they're like, okay, anybody want to try? And I wrote a set, and then I got up there, and like it didn't go very well, I don't think, relatively, but like, you know, um, I was just like, okay, I'm funny, I have the sense of humor. I just, it's a matter of having the courage to get up there, you know?
Ali, do you know that what's his name? The that Israeli guy that does all the comedy, Modi, that's his name. Do you know Modi?
I do know Modi, yeah. Yeah, I don't think, yeah. I was like, when you said the Israeli guy, I'm like thinking, are you thinking like Yochai Sponder? And
No, because I don't really know that many comedians, but I know Modi because my parents love him. They watch all his stuff. I just wanted to know if you know him. Knew him. I don't really have a follow-up question.
I do know him. It is one of the most common questions you get. People are like, "Oh, we had Modi," and um, yeah, he's really funny, and I really admire his stage presence because he's really just able to like just deliver jokes in such a powerful way. I'm sorry. I have young kids. I'm sorry for the yawning. I personally like for myself, I'm like, oh, I'm just like feel like I'm like just telling jokes that I wrote during Shemona Esrei or while in the bathroom. But there is the performance element that like he brings to the table, like almost like a Sebastian Maniscalco, like being able to just like be part of the joke element and being able to like really deliver it is a really big skill.
Yeah, it's probably not easy to be a comedian. You probably a lot of preparation, right?
Yeah, I mean at this point, thank God I have like my hour plus of material and I'm always trying to add to that. The hardest thing is when you're performing for crowds outside your wheelhouse, non-Jewish crowds for me. I don't yawn this much, I promise. It's myself looking at myself with my stubble. A little bit of that. No, so there's a lot of prep involved, but like it's a matter of if you have your set, what you're doing. Like, so if I'm doing like if I know the crowd that I'm performing at, then it's definitely easier. If it's a crowd that's like outside of my comfort zone, that's more challenging. And then I'm like, okay, what material that's not Jewish or not, from or Orthodox based can I do? Stuff like that.
Do your parents still ask you when you're going to become a doctor, or have they finally accepted that comedian's a real job?
I majored in psych in college, which is the telltale sign of you don't know what you're doing with your life. So I'm still trying to figure that out. Anyway, so I didn't have that like, hey, you should do this instead and all that. Um, but I know some people do, and some people um, really have that pressure, and I feel bad because it's like it's fairly nice to do something that I enjoy doing most of the time, which is a very nice gift to have.
I did a interview with Shabbos Kestenbaum like 2 weeks ago, and we were actually talking about college and university because he's known for his stuff with Harvard. But anyway, we were talking about college, and he was like, nowadays, unless you're really becoming a professional, like a doctor or whatever, you don't really need to go to college. And definitely don't really need to go to these universities or elite universities, or as he called them, expensive universities. You just don't, they're not really that useful anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is the piece of paper that you need, whether or not you went to Harvard versus Queens College or a Binghamton or Rutgers or SMC or something like that. Like, there's probably the more you do later in life, the less like the actual place you went to college matters. I think it's a lot of it is about connections and networking and people that you know there through that network or um yes, things that you pick up that like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. You must go to this school that's going to be very have anti-Semitic issues. I don't think that I don't buy that. What grade are you in currently?
I'm going into 10th grade next year.
Oh, nice. Okay. And what gave you the impetus to start a podcast?
Oh, the questions are coming on me now.
Yeah,
Just, um, I don't know. I just figured might as well, kill some time.
might as well do a podcast. Love it.
Yeah, why not,
That's a interesting way to get into it. Definitely don't say that in a job interview when it's like, "Why are you here?" You're like, "Well, you were. I didn't have anything else. My Xbox broke." I appreciate the accolades at the beginning. I think I'm nowhere near the level of fame and all that. I mean, I'm in the ShopRite, famous type of category, but you gotta it's something to keep in mind that like even if as you rise through the ranks a little bit you gotta still keep that don't pull up the ladder from the people below not below you but like younger than you and with less experience. It's just like kind of give some insight.
Yeah, with all the accolades in the beginning, you gotta hook the audience. So you always have to make it sound good in the beginning. But I'm sure that there's some truth to it though.
Some of our videos have gone out. The J Sketch videos with Ami Kozak and Mikey Greenblatt have really made it out there, and we're really proud of what we've done with it because I think there's a lot of material to be had about Judaism, but also it's not necessarily done usually very well or in a like from a religious perspective. It's often like very you know, are called milquetoast Judaism, like very superficially Jewish, and their whole connection is matzah balls and like bagels. Who are you trying to get? Like, what's your thing? Just people that you find interesting?
I basically just search on Instagram, like, or on Google sometimes, Jewish people that would be good on a podcast, on a school podcast. And then
And
just,
my first name was the one that came up after Shabbos Kesnemo.
no, you were like the eighth name that came up. Oh, n
Well,
none of the other people responded. So
who else was on that list?
I don't even remember. I looked it up like 2 months ago, and then I
Nice.
just went like one by one. But
Well, as your seventh to eighth choice, it means so much to me, to be honest.
you got like 60 views on YouTube. Makes you feel better.
So,
Uh,
is there so does that mean you can't continue it once you graduate?
Probably not. No, no. But there's a few years until then. So, Ellie, you travel a lot. How do you handle keeping kosher on the road?
I go to cities that have mo the good thing is that most of the places that I perform at, I'm usually performing at a shul, synagogue, or a Jewish organization, which means that they probably have some sort of kosher food. You're like, is there any kosher food here? They're like, not really. But every other Tuesday at the JCC between 2 and 4, there's like a guy that sells falafel. And you're like, is it any good? Nope, but that's Benji. So that's like kind of that happens when you go to really smaller places, but I'm not always going to those kinds of places, but usually I'm going to bigger communities, so not really an issue.
How do you know so much about LA? You've been here?
I've been, yes, I've been there.
Wait, but you said you live in Jersey though, right?
Yeah.
So how have you been
And
to LA?
you remember you started your question with you travel a lot. I haven't been to LA in a few years from a traveling standpoint. Like I did some shows in like February of 2020, right before COVID, and I probably haven't really been back in a few years to LA. Um, but I've definitely I've done some shows there. I did an event with Mark Schiff for like EULA several years ago. Um, yeah, there's a lot. Again, wherever there's Jews is usually where I'll, be performing. So, I've gone to Baltimore, go to Chicago, Dallas, Atlanta, Florida, all over the place.
Have you been to Boston?
There's a few. There's Newton, there's like Sharon, Brookline. There's a bunch of different Boston Boston area communities.
Have you been to Newton?
Yes.
I've heard great things about there. Like it's a great community. Is that true? Like everyone there, it's just like a really nice place to live.
I don't live there, but I've, um, I mean, I do sometimes judge a community based on how good of laughers they are. I remember them being good laughers. But everything's got LA. You have what, sunshine 95% of the time.
Good weather here, yeah.
The weather's there is good. Boston has a lot more cold, though. I did a show at Brandeis, um, for the Orthodox organization of Brandeis a few years ago, and it was like it snowed. It was over. I performed on Saturday night, and it snowed that Saturday night. I'm like, oh my gosh, I might be able to like take my like I took a bus, I think a mega bus or something to get back in to New York, and I was like, this is gonna be so bad. Oh my gosh, and they were like, nope, it's fine. There's no issue. As opposed to New York would be like, really like, that's it. We can't drive. We didn't ex anticipate snow.
Okay. Ellie, where can our listeners follow you on social media?
On Instagram, I'm at Ellie Comedy Agram, Eli Comedy Agram. My Twitter or X, whatever you call it, is at Ellie Leibowitz, ELILEBOWICZ. And my website is elliecomedy.com, elicomedy.com.
All right, Ellie, thanks so much for joining.
Jonah, thank you very much. All the best.